This exhibit that I'm displaying at the Federation Expo in Reno, Nevada consists of California's earliest bitters bottles. And on display are 6 bitters bottles that were manufactured by the Western Glass Works during the 1860s decade. The bottle on your far left is a G.A. Simons medicated aromatic bitters. This was a gentleman who came to San Francisco in 1860 and began a distillery. And the G.A. Simons bottle was a bottle that was designed and blown at the Pacific Glass Works in November of 1865 to about February of 1866. Currently there are only 3 known examples. The next bottle is the Cassin's Great Brandy Bitters. 2 brothers, Francis and Patrick Cassin, came to the United States from Ireland, settled in San Francisco. Francis Cassin was actually a 49er pioneer and arrived there and started a grocery store in 1849. The brothers opened up a liquor house and began to manufacture and sell different bitters bottles. This is the first variant Cassins. There are 9 of these known in the United States in collections, and this is the only unrepaired example in existence. The third bottle is embossed V. Squarza. This was a gentleman that came from Italy and became a candle maker on Staten Island and New York before arriving in San Francisco in 1850. He opened up a coffee saloon and in 1861 began to be a punch manufacturer. And this is the only cobalt blue embossed bitters bottle in the West. Most likely this bottle contained a cholera antidote bitters, and it was manufactured sometime in August 1866. Vincenzo Squarza ended up leaving San Francisco in January of 1867 and going back to his native land of Italy. The next bottle is the Rosenbaum's Bitters, M.B. Jacobs, San Francisco. M.B. Jacobs was in West Virginia when he came to California in the early 1850s, lured by the great gold boom. He started out mining, but eventually ended up in San Francisco and purchased a saloon. And in the mid-1850s, he was one of the earliest wine and liquor distributors, wholesale distributors in San Francisco. The Rosenbaum's Bitters actually was manufactured starting in late 1864 and ran till 1869. M.B. Jacobs died a relatively young man at age 39 on December 10th, 1869. The next bottle is a Liqueurs Sarsaparilla Bitters. Louis Liqueur, a Frenchman, came to San Francisco and began working for a couple other liquor distillers in the early 1850s. He eventually opened his own wholesale liquor business, and this particular shaped bottle was designed and conceived by California artists. He received a patent on February 8th, 1868 for this design, and it's supposed to resemble a lighthouse, of which he took a lighthouse as a trademark. The Louis Liqueur actually left San Francisco and went to Pios, Nevada in 1869. He returned and actually died of a heart attack in May of 1873. The last bottle is a uniquely shaped bottle. It's embossed A.T. & Company, and that stands for Asher Taylor. Asher Taylor was in New York, working in the hotel business in the 1850s. He also was a soda water manufacturer in New York before arriving in San Francisco in about 1854. He operated San Francisco Soda Works and then moved to Sacramento, operated a soda works and worked as an employee for a soda works there in the late 1850s, and then moved back to San Francisco and then moved back again to Sacramento. This bottle was conceived as his design, and it held a champagne wine bitters, and he received a trademark for a champagne wine bitters and a champagne soda bitters. The soda bitters was to be distributed through bars, the champagne wine bitters was to be bottled and marketed. And this bottle was marketed briefly in the year 1868. Asher Taylor ended up eventually dying in 1876.